Guys, welcome to Wednesday with Wendy. Today we are making kombucha. This is one of my most favorite recipes. I love making kombucha for my family. We drink it all year round, especially in the summertime when it's hot. You get it out of the fridge with a glass full of ice and some kombucha, and it's just super refreshing, has a little bit of bubble to it, and it makes your tummy feel really good. The best thing about kombucha is that it supports our immune system. When we have an imbalance of bugs in our gut, then we are more susceptible to getting sick. So I love serving my family kombucha because I know that they're getting healthy probiotics, healthy prebiotics, and healing their gut at the same time. And it's tasty and it's just fun to drink. So my kids love it. I make at least one of these every week if I can. Sometimes I get behind because they drink it really fast. So first of all, I'm going to let you know what you need to get started. First of all, we'll start with the tea. I buy Newman's Own Organics from Winco. I get a whole box of green and a whole box of red. The green tea and the red, or the black tea, it's a red box. So it's black tea is the red box, and then the green tea is the green box. And these two teas, the black tea and the green tea, are the foundation of your kombucha, and then you can add any flavor you want to it. So one of my favorites is the Perfect Peach. I do like to get the organic peach, but I also like the Bigelow flavors. So today we're doing Perfect Peach flavor. And so you always start with 5. So with this container right here, let me just show you this container I got from Walmart. It's about a gallon, maybe a gallon and a half. So the recipe that I'm making is for this container in particular. I've made it 100 times, and I know that the combination of tea works with this size of container. So I use 5 green tea, 5 black tea, and 5 flavored tea. So 15 total tea bags. And if you think about how much it costs to buy kombucha at the store, like if it's on sale, less than $4. But each one of these tea bags is a lot less than, like 10 cents? If there's 20 bags, and you buy it for $3, it's a lot cheaper to buy a box of tea and make it yourself than buy the kombucha at the store. And you know where it's coming from, and you know that you can make whatever flavor you want, and so it's just kind of a plus to make it on your own because you know where the kombucha is coming from, you know how much sugar you're putting in, and when you buy it from the store, you're not sure if they add more sugar and additives to kind of just make it, bring more ingredients into it than necessary. So this is a super great basic recipe. All you need is 15 bags of tea, 1 cup of sugar, and you need your SCOBY. So your SCOBY you can get online on Amazon, and I'll share a couple of links. You can get an organic SCOBY. It's basically just it's your mother mushroom, basically. That's what creates the fermentation, the combination, the chemical reaction between the sugar and the SCOBY makes the fermentation. One thing they always also highly recommend, especially when making kombucha in the winter, is getting a heat mat. This is just a seedling heat mat, and I wrap it around my kombucha jar like this, plug it in, and it keeps it the best. When making kombucha, it's also recommended that you keep the jar dark and covered. So the mat is dark, keeps it covered. I put a towel on top and it keeps it nice and dark, and so it just works really well to keep the temperature consistent. I set the mat and the temperature gauge comes separately. You have to buy it separately, but it's really handy to have it so that you can set the temperature. I keep it at 85 degrees is where I like to keep my kombucha nice and warm. Okay, so before we got started today, I boiled some water. This is like 6 cups of water to a rolling boil. I filled my jar up about a little bit more than a third with fresh filtered water from my RO system here. And this is also filtered water. And so the reason why I like to use hot and cold water is because I've poured hot water straight into the glass and it cracks. So, you know, I just do half and half, makes it easy. So we start brewing the kombucha by steeping the tea bags. And I always like to leave a little bit of room at the top, about an inch at the top, to put ice in. It helps cool it down before you put the SCOBY in. So these tea bags, all 15 of them go in, and you steep them for about 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes I do more because I forget, and that's okay. But at least 15 minutes at the minimum. So these will stay in here. I'll set the timer, walk away, let it steep. And then I like to use a wooden spoon. The metal has a chemical reaction to the tea, so I always like to use a wooden spoon, and I just use the handle to stir in the sugar. So let's pretend it's been 15 minutes and it's time to put the sugar in. So at 15 minutes, I'll just kind of squeeze these out and take them out, and just throw them in the garbage, and then put a cup of sugar in. Using the handle of the spoon, just stirring that in until it's all dissolved. You can see the sugar that is dissolved. When the sugar is dissolved at the bottom. All right. So after the tea has been steeped and you put the sugar in and it's completely dissolved, I like to add a bunch of ice to fill all the way to the top. And what that does is cools it off a little bit. I found that if I put the SCOBY in, before it's a little bit cooled off and it's still steaming and super hot to touch, then the SCOBY kind of falls apart faster. So I found that it's best to cool it down with some ice so it's not steaming anymore. But I like it to be steaming for while I steep the tea bags. So after the tea bags are done steeping and I've got the sugar all mixed in, I will take the handle again, and I'll just show you what my SCOBY looks like. It's a little different than maybe what you'll find online. It's kind of dark and it has I'll get a big, nice big fat one in here. It has like little slimy, slimy kind of fat pockets, it looks like, on it. So anyways, I don't know if you can see that. Has little fat pockets on there. And that is indication of a really healthy SCOBY. So let me just tell you a little bit about the brine that I have this in. I have a bunch of pieces in here. And I just keep it in my cupboard. See, this one you can see lots of little fatty pieces on it. That's a healthy SCOBY right there. Alright, so what I do with this jar is I keep it in my cupboard at all times. I keep a little bit of, it gets really vinegary in here, so I'll keep the vinegar portion up to about here, and then when the sweet tea is completely cooled off, I'll fill it up a little bit more. And the reason why it's so high is because all my SCOBYs are in here, so it's just kind of filled up here. So I'll kind of just freshen up the brine here so that it keeps it nice, and you know, the sugar kind of keeps it feeding, and so that the SCOBYs keep staying healthy. All right, so don't forget to cool off your kombucha before putting in the SCOBY. And then after that, after you put your SCOBY in, you know, of course you don't have the tea bags in there anymore, but I'm going to wait for about 10 more minutes to take my tea bags out. And then once you have the SCOBY in there, the ice is, you know, you stirred the ice in there, it's all melted. I'm going to show you how to use this mat. Okay. Plug it in here so you can see how to use it. Okay. So you can see that it's telling you how warm the mat is. This has an indicator actually right here. This is the temperature indicator, and I put a little piece of tape on it to tape on the outside of the glass jar. So this tells you how warm that indicator is right now. This top button, this is called Vivosun, V-I-V-O-S-U-N. This top button is setting at the temperature, so if you push it like this, it starts to blink after a second, and then you can adjust it up. So this says 86, that's up, and that's 85, that's down. So I set it at 85, and then I touch the top button again, and that sets it to the temperature, and then it goes back to where it is now. Alright, so I'm just going to move this over here and show you how I wrap my jar. So I have it plugged in here, and I'm going to get a new piece of tape for my temperature reader because all the stick is gone. Alright, so I take new piece of tape, and just stick it right in the center. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. But anyways, I just put it on the side of the jar. So this will tell you how hot it is. And I don't like to put the SCOBY in when it's like 100 degrees. So it's going up right now. The temperature says, we'll wait for it for a minute. Oh, while we're waiting for the temperature to read accurately. This is how I put the mat on. And so you can see the temperature readers right here, so it's not touching the mat. So I've got it wrapped around, so maybe you can see better here. I've got it wrapped, the mat wrapped around like this, so that the temperature reader isn't touching the mat. So there's about a 2-inch space between the mat and the temperature and the other 2 ends of the mat. And then the temperature reader can accurately read the temperature without touching the mat. And so I put this up against the wall, so it kind of pushes up against the wall here. Let's see where this is at here. It's still going up. It says 35. In the meantime, if you are a fan of kombucha like I am, you may have a few extra jars. I have about 15 jars in here that I've gotten from the store, different brands that I like. The GTS, I like the Kavita. I've gotten the Simple Truth Organics brand before. The kind that I like the best are these two, the Kavita and the GTs. Living Foods Synergy. I like these two brands the best. So I have about 15 empty jars. And this jar, if you don't snack on it, you know, you want to taste it within like 5 days and see if you like it. Because I personally like my kombucha to be a little bit more, has a bite to it. So when you drink it, it tastes slightly sour, and it has more bubble when it has more time, fermenting time. Some people like it at 5 days, but I don't recommend drinking it before 5 days because there's really no purpose, because it's just basically a sweet tea, and you want to give it some time to ferment. So that's the purpose. So to get the real health benefits out of the kombucha. So this is a 7-day brew right here, and I absolutely love it. I made it with the perfect peach, the green and the black organic Newman's Own tea, and it turned out great. My whole family loves it. And let's see here where we're at. But it's still climbing. It takes a little bit for it to decide what the temperature is. So this kind of tells you, this helps you know when to put the SCOBY in, so it's not too hot. I'll never put SCOBY in if it's above 90. So that's how you make kombucha. That's all you have to do, is you wrap this around it, put the lid on it, and I always cover it, the top, with an extra towel to keep all the sunlight out. The best way to make kombucha is keeping it really dark. So that is kombucha. And so if you guys have any questions, please comment it below, and I would be happy to help you find the links that you need for all the supplies that I use, and maybe even do a class. So if you're interested in a kombucha class, if you're interested in a sourdough class, we could make some bread and pizza and cinnamon rolls. So if you are interested in a fermentation class, we can even do some sauerkraut. I'd love to have you come to my home and we can do a fun class sometime. All right, so thanks for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next one.